I was a big-time Bernie Sanders supporter. I'm a leftist. I liked Bernie Sanders. I liked his policy. I liked him as a person. He was probably one of the most genuine politicians I'd ever seen, which isn't saying much, politician after all, but genuinely Bernie Sanders was a fantastic candidate in regards to his run for presidency, as well as his other political endeavors over the his long career. And when he lost to Joe Biden, more so that the election was stolen from him. It was pretty coordinated. Like Warren dropping out the day after it became too late for him to win, refusing to endorse him, knowing that the vast majority, or at least a significant amount of her supporters' second choice was Bernie. Like the race was stolen from him. It was very scummy. It was very bad. I'm angry about it. You're angry about it. We're all fucking mad about it. I've gone pretty hard against Bernie or Busters, though. Because at the end of the day, we've only got two options. Got Biden and we've got Trump. There's nobody else that's going to win. There's no one else. Howie Hawkins and the Green Party aren't going to hit the 5% of, I think, the popular vote they need to hit in order to be taken seriously and be funded for what is it, like they have to hit 5% of the popular vote to get funding for, I forget exactly what it is, some dumb shit. Okay, listen, doesn't even fucking matter. No way they get it. All right, it's impossible. We are unfortunately living under a two-party system in which the centrist Democrat Party and the borderline fascist Republican Party, although I'd argue past fascist Republican Party, are our only two options, realistically speaking. After what happened to Bernie, and the fact that our only option is a centrist who has some left-leaning ideas that all come from conceding to Bernie in order to gain some of Bernie's supporters, and a literal fascist, it makes you want to feel like sitting out of the election, or hell, throwing your vote towards the Green Party, so at least you could cast your endorsement to a candidate you actually find represents at least some significant amount of your political ideas. But I'm afraid that's just not how it works. I am anti-establishment, and I'm also anti-government. I'm not a huge fan of the government. I'm a libertarian socialist. And being a libertarian socialist, I am of the belief that, at least at this very moment, socialism, or at least a fraction of my political ideas, even going past socialism or outside of it, are not going to be possible to achieve right now through electoralism. Now, maybe one day they could be. Like, if we get to the point where we have an actual, like, socialist party running in this country, maybe then that would be possible. But we don't. Unfortunately, we're in a position where our only option is to vote for the lesser evil. And I know that feels like shit. It doesn't feel right. I know that feeling, and we'll get into it a little bit more later, but let me continue. A lot of people say that Joe Biden and Trump are the same. They're really not. Go to their websites and look at their platforms. Look at the concessions that Biden has made to Bernie Sanders. He's made a few. He's taken climate change pretty damn seriously. I think he's pledged, $2 or $3 trillion to solving climate change. There's a lot more intricate policy stuff that goes into that, trying to solve it. Like, it's not like we're just gonna spend $3 trillion to fix climate. It doesn't work that way. $2 trillion, thank you. And it's not enough. It's certainly not enough to fix the problem, but Trump believes it's a Chinese hoax and wants to accelerate it. Climate change is an existential threat that we have to deal with, or the most vulnerable among us will be the ones most affected by its symptoms. Poor people, particularly poor people in minority communities, are going to be the ones hurt the most by climate change. Most of them live in bad neighborhoods that don't have the infrastructure to hold back against things like floods, hurricanes, wildfires, what have you, things that are exacerbated, higher by climate change. These are serious issues. Not to mention the coronavirus. Hundreds of thousands of Americans are dead right now because of Trump's poor handling of the coronavirus. Because of COVID and Trump. Trump is engaged in multiple scandals, dozens of credible rape allegations against him. One of them being an accusation of him raping a 13-year-old girl, of which I think the accuser took a settlement on, which means they must have had a pretty fucking good case to get a settlement. Like, holy shit, that's insane. Don't quote me on that because I don't know all the details to it, but I looked a little bit into it a while back, and holy shit, it was crazy. I could go on forever. Trump is infinitely worse than Biden. It's because she was getting death threats? Oh, you're right, Rook. I apologize. Never mind. The 13-year-old girl who tried to sue Trump, or her family, right? That tried to sue Trump for raping her, didn't get a settlement. She had to quit the court case because she was getting death threats from Trump's fans. But you know, maybe Biden and Trump are the same thing, and we ought to keep them in power. But hey, Biden raped somebody too. Well, for starters, if we're being completely honest, here comes the big fucking hot take. Tara Reade's accusations are flimsy at best. Her story has changed multiple times. A lot of things just don't line up. It seems like, according to her coworkers, what most likely happened was he was essentially acting like any other creepy old powerful man does around younger women that he has authority over, and was a creepy old guy in power that behaved inappropriately and probably like sexually harassed her to a degree. But yeah, like, holy shit, the fucking fucking rape allegation doesn't hold up as well as I thought it did. Regardless of that, Trump has over 50 allegations towards him, which are far more credible, and he's bragged about it. Hell, listen, believe all women? Believe all women doesn't mean believe all women regardless of the evidence. It means don't immediately discredit. And also believe all women applies to all genders, by the way. I don't like that term entirely. It doesn't mean just believe any allegation at face value, no matter what. It means don't immediately discredit it and don't believe it because you don't feel like it. It means consider it, look at the evidence, and come to a reasonable conclusion after reviewing the evidence. I did with the Biden thing. However, Trump is far more. And he's bragged about it. He's open about it. He's talked about how he's a star and he's powerful and he can just grab women by the pussy and they can't do anything about it. You know, you can just do whatever you want because he's so powerful. He brags about sexually assaulting women, you know? Not really surprising. It's in character for him. He's pretty bad. Now, I'm not a liberal. I don't believe that electing Biden is the end of the road. It's far from the end of the road, okay? It's far from the end of the road. Electing Biden is simply going to be a stopgap. A very temporary stopgap. It's possible that 4 more years of Biden could lead to the same material conditions that led to the first 4 years of Trump. But he's not 4 years of Trump. Trump has actively claimed, or heavily alluded in some cases, that he will not accept the results of the election if he loses. Which means he will likely try to stage a coup if Biden wins. The only way that we ensure he does not do this successfully is by making absolute certain Biden has an overwhelming amount of votes in his favor. he can't just win. If he wins by like a fucking hair, that's not going to be enough. Biden winning by a hair isn't enough. He has to win in a blowout. It has to be big. Otherwise, Trump is going to call election fraud, and he's going to do anything he can to try to perform a coup and stay in power. And then, boom, we did a fascism. We're in fascism now. No more elections, no more democracy. If Trump is capable of staying in power after he gets elected out of office, if he finds a way to stay in power through like claiming that our election was you know, there was fraud going on, we're fucked. It may sound like that's impossible. That sounds like it's impossible, but like everybody in power right now in government, for the most part, that would make these decisions, you know, were appointed by Trump, or at the very least are Republicans that want him to stay in power. Like, guys, Trump could pull it off. Trump could actually do a coup. He's got enough support in the government to do it. The government is full of Republican sycophants that would back him up. He's got the power of full-on fucking militias, ex-cops and ex-military backing him up, all right? If he doesn't want to go, it's not going to be fucking quiet about the FBI or the military. We'll have to see what fucking happens. Either way, if we don't want that to go down, if we don't want to risk Trump having any ground to stand on when he attempts a coup, which he will not leave quietly if he loses, no matter what. If we want to avoid him somehow finding a way to stay in power, and we want to make sure he has as little ground to stand on as possible, we need to make sure that Biden has as many votes as possible. Which means even if you're in a blue state, you vote for Biden. Do a mail-in ballot, okay? You don't even have to leave your house. No risk of COVID. You can cry while you're filling out the ballot at home where no one will see you. I understand. I did the same thing. Not really. I did it on stream. I cried later that night. Mail-in ballots are a hell of a thing, but do it fucking quickly because you're running out of time. Now, I want to talk about the future. We need to use electoralism and the 4 years at a time that having shitty centrist neoliberal candidates in power does for us to do as much actual activism as possible. Now, I do my activism, okay? Which is my videos. I influence people to become socialists, and I de-radicalize people from fascism or just being conservatives or right-wing or liberals or whatever to the left. That's what I do. That's my activism. And I try to educate people. I reach millions of people. I wish I reached more, but still, you know, it's a lot of people. I reach millions of people. And that's my activism. But you guys have activism to do as well. You need to use electoralism as a weapon. There are hundreds, thousands of actual socialist politicians running for local elections all around America. It's true. There are. You need to help get those people elected. That's how you start. You start by being a mayor or a governor or something. And then you work your way up through the line of succession or up through government, gaining a name for yourself. Oh, AOC did it. AOC is pretty damn close to being a socialist. I'm pretty sure she hides her power level, kind of, you know, acts like a sock dem to the public, but AOC is a fucking socialist, I can tell. Okay? She's definitely a fucking socialist. And she, only 5-6 years ago, was mixing drinks at a bar. That was her job. Now she's a congresswoman. And pro Among Us player and massive Twitch streamer, of course, who said poggers. Well, actually, it was Ilhan Omar who said poggers, right? Yeah. Listen, I'm very tired, okay? I'm delirious right now. We need more AOCs. We need more Bernie Sanders. The way that we get more people like that is through local elections. Get those people in power. And in the meantime, make sure Democrats are in power, because, especially holding the presidency, because we need to, if we want any chance of this working, we need to do a few things when it comes to electoralism in this country. We need to, one, take away the Electoral College. It has to go. Socialism will never win in this country through electoralism if the Electoral College is a thing. It's just impossible, okay? It's literally impossible. Mathematically speaking, it'll never happen. 2, get rid of first past the post voting. All right? Gotta go. 3, well, technically this kind of ties in the last 2, but end the two-party system. Doing those previous 2 things will end the two-party system. If we destroy the Republican Party to the point of there is no chance of the Republican Party having any support whatsoever, and we get rid of the Electoral College, and we get rid of first past the post, we could have an actual socialist party in America. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine an America where the Republican Party had a minuscule chance of winning? Just like this, just tiny. Just a tiny little chance of winning. Nothing. Just nothing. No mathematical likelihood whatsoever. And the actual election was between the Democrat, the neoliberal centrist Democrat Party, and the super left-leaning American Socialist Party. How cool would that be? Well, that's the future that I'm looking for. And I'm sorry, but I'm not fully convinced there'll be another election if Trump gets reelected on November 3rd. That's a future that is out the fucking window if he gets reelected. The dude has nothing holding him back anymore. He's been impeached. He's gotten COVID and survived. He's gone through basically every single fucking scandal imaginable. And now, if he gets reelected, he's going to be in his second term, unimpeachable, unstoppable, and no longer having to worry about getting reelected. If you think Trump has been pretty bad for the last 4 years, you haven't seen anything yet. Trump will be at least twice as bad in his second term. Finally, I'm going to make an appeal to emotion, because this is a video that I'm sending out to all my followers that are still Bernie or bust out there, okay? Listen. This is a bit of an appeal to emotion, but seriously. Think about all the people that are in minority groups that are having their rights stripped from them by the Trump administration. Trump just appointed, or is currently appointing, Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court after RBG's death. It's very possible we may see Roe v. Wade go away. Not 100% yet. It's kind of been thrown around, but we don't know. Very possible Roe v. Wade gone. Women, fucking uterus havers' rights to an abortion out the fucking window. Not to mention right now, Trump's administration is looking at repealing gay marriage on a federal level. Getting that out of there. On top of that, Trump's administration has asked and tried to eliminate the ability for LGBT people to adopt children. Trying to get that out the window. They've also banned trans people from the military, taking their jobs away. I'm no fan of the military, but I'm also no fan of having a line of work that specifically discriminates against trans people. Just took their jobs away, kicked them the fuck out for no reason other than being trans. What else have they done? Oh yeah, there was Trump having his soldiers, his fucking Secret Service SWAT team soldiers, barrel through a crowd of peaceful protesters outside the White House, beating the shit out of them so he could take a photo op by a church, you know? Oh yeah. If you guys want to continue doing BLM protests, you better prepare for a lot more protesters to die and a lot more innocent black people to get shot under Trump than there would be under Biden, okay? Holy shit. Trump takes active joy in watching anti-fascist protesters having their faces beaten by the cops with nightsticks, okay? He jacks off to it every night before bed, okay? That's what he's doing, all right? Yes, repealing DACA. Trump plans to repeal the ACA, which will, with no plan for a replacement, by the way. How many of you here are on your parents' insurance? Hypers, if you're on your parents' insurance. Yeah. If you're on your parents' insurance, that's gone. If Trump repeals the ACA, most likely. If your job does not offer healthcare, which many don't, many low-skilled labor jobs don't really offer any type of healthcare, and you're on your parents' insurance, that's because of the ACA. The ACA is what made that a thing. Obamacare. Trump's axing that shit, and he has no plans to replace it. He's been saying that he's going to replace it for 5 years. No plans whatsoever. Not to mention that having COVID, if you've had COVID, that's a pre-existing condition now. So, there goes your health care. There goes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yikes. Sorry, that's a you got COVID. That's a pre-existing condition now. Yeah. What else? What else is bad about Trump? Do I really need to go on forever? I mean, just like his literal like endorsement by actual fascist neo-Nazi groups like the KKK and the Proud Boys, you know, like him empowering them, and a massive spike in hate crimes and white nationalist terrorist attacks, murdering hundreds of innocent people in massively public displays that have encouraged and inspired even more neo-Nazis to do the same ever since he got elected. You realize that, like, holy shit, we've had multiple massive, like, groundbreaking white nationalist terrorist attacks in the last 4 years. Isn't that crazy? We've had Charlottesville. We've had the San Diego mosque shooting or synagogue shooting. We had the Christchurch shooting. You know, like although that was in New Zealand, the dude was definitely inspired by like the community that surrounds Trump. You know, like, holy shit. If you're a leftist, even if you're like an anti-IDPOL, anti-liberal, anti-whatever, super edgy, like class reductionist or accelerationist leftist, you got to realize that like the left can't survive another 4 years of Trump. Most people who are working class aren't going to be able to survive it. And it's not going to radicalize them to the left because there's nothing they can do. It's just not going to happen. You're just going to have more white nationalists murdering anti-fascists, murdering black people and trans people and gay people, etc. Listen, this is my final treatise on Bernie or Bust. And starting today, until November 3rd, I will be taking the... I will be taking the... I will be taking the cum pledge. I will be taking the cum pledge until after the election. C. Don't argue with other leftists. U. Get more sleep, of which I really need. M. Don't get mad online. The coming starts today. In fact, I'm currently coming, as disgusting as it is. I really hate... I said I would never take the cum pledge because I didn't... I really do enjoy shitting on other lefties, but if we're being honest, I think we're close enough to the election that anybody who is still a Bernie or Buster is not having their minds changed. We are, what, 8 days out now? Yeah, we're 8 days out from the election now. If you haven't already changed your mind about being Bernie or Bust, there's no doing it now. This is my final statement on it. I will be going hard against the right and against Trump for the next 8 days, and I will be coming for 8 days straight. It's just gonna be, there's gonna be cum everywhere. I'm gonna be like, it's gonna be amazing. Okay, here I got a meme for this. Hold on. Here, I got the perfect meme for this. All right, we'll wrap it up on this one. Wrap it up on this.
I've been coming. I'm going to continue to come. Skip's been coming. He's going to continue to come. And people just need to get over that.
Amazing. With all that said, though, with all that said, all right, this means absolutely nothing. You all need to get out there and fucking vote in November, all right? I'm going to give you Bernie or Buster dipshits a goddamn break, all right? Until November 3rd, okay? And depending on who fucking wins, if Trump wins, every time Trump does some shit that ends up harming any marginalized group, we're gonna blame you guys. We're gonna blame you, because it will be your fault, to a degree. Actually, probably not mathematically, but we'll still blame you. We're gonna blame you. It's gonna be your fault. So, yeah, vote for Biden, you pieces of shit. All right? I love you. Vote for fucking Biden. Don't care if you're in a blue state. Don't care if you're in a red state. Don't care if you're in a purple state. Don't care if you're in a fugue state. I don't fucking care, okay? I don't care if you're in an ethno state, all right? You vote for fucking Biden, all right? You vote for Joe. And you do it not with a smile on your face. I definitely didn't do it with a smile on my face. Regardless, though, you fucking do it. And then you do real, actual, outside electoral activism afterwards, all right? You're not choosing who you want to be ruling things or running things with this election. You're choosing who you want to protest against. I think any rational leftist would rather protest against a liberal rather than a fascist. But hey, maybe that's just me. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, drop a sub. I really appreciate it. It helps a lot. Be sure to hit that bell icon. YouTube doesn't tell you, even if you're subscribed, YouTube doesn't tell you when I'm live or when I upload unless you actually hit the bell icon. It's crazy. It's very stupid and I hate it, but you know how it is. I also have memberships now on my channel. So down below there's a little thing called member. You can click that, or join, I think it's called. You can click that join thing and you can become a member and you get cool privileges and a little thing next to your name, and I'm pretty sure comments go to the top of the comments section, so I'm more likely to see them. It's super cool. You should definitely do it. Definitely do it. It's like Patreon, but with YouTube. And thank you for watching.